The Second Lieutenant's Dance by Michael Dante, a poem inspired by Chopin's Spring Waltz. On the lawns of Le Chateau Ublys, a gentleman and his lady waltzed out of the mist. The second lieutenant held the woman tenderly. Embracing each other, they danced in one another's arms. A barrel curl concertinaed round her ear like a copper-colored slowworm which caught his attention. Perfumed and pampered, she was a splendid-looking lady. Quite a catch. In the garden, the gramophone played Chopin's Spring Waltz. Chinese lanterns hung from a bosquet of willows. In the gentle breeze, pink lamps swayed to the piano's melody. Behind them, candlelight flickered from the windows of the old chateau. Way off in the distance, a small hedge glimmered under the moon. Beyond the rosarium, the meadow caressed the rosebushes which now slept under a blanket of mist. On the reverse turn, he felt a sudden frisson, a passing thrill of excitement. Pulling the lady towards him, they seemed to dissolve in a chassez of harmony. He'd never known a dawn so delicious. In his navy jacket and bow tie, he looked dapper. His tight cavalry trousers made more dashing by a slash of scarlet down the seam. There were perhaps 20 officers and their wives whirling around the garden. Fortunately, he had paired with the prettiest girl there, a Velasquez of loveliness. The gramophone's music was nearing its end. Attired in her gold ivory gown, the lady was gorgeous, though her touch chilled him to the bone. On the lawn, a troop of mushrooms sprouted like half-remembered faces. Growing a little weary, he dragged his feet in a slow sliding step, hoping she might follow his lead. Ever adorable, his companion encircled him, her petaled gown a gilded tulip. Unable to help himself, he glimpsed at her stockinged ankle. Sensing his intentions, she flicked her head back, revealing the whiteness of her throat in a coquettish flourish, her neck encrusted in jewels of frost. When he bowed, she gave him a polite curtsy. Placing his hand out, he hoped she might take it. Soon as she did, he drew her to him, kissing her deeply on the mouth. He was knocked back by astonishment when he caught the faint waft of Grey Poupon upon her breath. Hungrily, she pressed her mouth against his. He felt his heart stiffen in his crotch. Her kiss tasted of champagne mingled with hemlock. Though his mind was dulled by wine, a strange sense of bewilderment and enchantment flooded his innermost self. A feeling of light-headedness overcame him. Under his feet, the ground felt uneven. Stumbling upon one knee, he gazed upon her. As the final strains of Chopin swelled to its triumphant climax, he would propose. But for some reason the words wouldn't leave his mouth and seemed to clog in his throat. His icy shirt clung to his back. Gripped by a fear he had never known before, the second lieutenant rolled onto his back, then vomited blood. The garden was now filled with fog. Nearby, a bosquet of willows burned under a tongue of flame. Behind them, the shattered windows of the chateau flickered with a fire that spilled its light across the lawn. Way off, under the moon, a hedge festooned with razors flashed in the gloom. A newly dug trench had been plowed into the earth. A strange-smelling mist lingered about them. In the distance, he saw the outlines of men, bent double like roses battered by a tempest. Scattered in the screaming silt, his men's helmets sprouted from the loom like mushrooms. Losing his footing, he slipped into a shell hole filled with rainwater. He hit the cold blackness with a splash. Red clay spewed from his mouth, augmenting his lips with a thickening claret. An iced finger ran down his back. Tearing at his throat, he thrashed around in the freezing mud. Hundreds of flares hung in the sky like glowworms in a garden of amnesiacs. In its death throe, the night shone pink and lovely. Just 2 years ago, the second lieutenant and his men shouted and sang on the trains that carried them to Langmark, Western Flanders. In the corpse-littered trench, a looted gramophone played Chopin's Spring Waltz to itself. He closed his eyes. An unmistakable beauty rose from the abandoned earthwork. In all this devastation, the melody rekindled a lost love. As he listened, the last note evaporated with the tear on a dead man's cheek. Out of the mist an officer and his lady waltzed, holding one another in their arms. Through trench wire and ditch they danced. Drawing closer, under the tearful moonlight the two of them kissed in the grounds of the ruined chateau.